Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Ace?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. How's the weather in New York today?
It's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just it's hot in the evenings and mornings. It's been a little chillier, so I guess fall is coming.
Nice. I'm jealous. It's like horrendously gray and like maybe 63 degrees here.
Oh, damn.
I know, and I think it's just like it's bringing my mood down, so I'm excited that I'm doing this because I think this is gonna like give me the boost of energy that like 4 cups of coffee haven't given me.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's pretty sunny here if you want to see.
Nice. Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you how abysmal it is here. It's just like nothing.
Oh, wow. I kind of like that weather.
You know, I do too, especially because as a Pisces, especially, I love when I just have permission to like not leave my house.
Right.
Um, However, I think in the come down from summer, it's just even more horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I see like it getting colder. I'm like, oh, depression's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Maybe should we stall a few more minutes for people to kind of arrive?
Okay, yeah.
Cool. Because I can see there's more people coming in and out.
Oh, cool.
Dun, dun, dun. What time is it in New York? Is it like noon?
Yeah, it's 1 p.m.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
What about there over there?
6
Monday?
o'clock.
Okay. So it's evening. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder, are people coming in, like Bear Let Festival people, or are they just people who are watching?
I think both potentially.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Cool. But yeah, I think yeah, we're recording this. Or Barrett is recording this, so
Okay.
everything will go up for people to watch back, which will be fun.
Nice. Yeah, how was your day?
My day, let's see. Um, I I've just been working on horoscopes as
Yeah.
always. That as I said that, my editor just WhatsApped me. I'm gonna mute my WhatsApp. Hold on 1 second. I just summoned her. Um, yeah, I've just been working on horoscopes, working on dailies, which is always like
Oh, wow.
really, really like fun but chaotic.
Yeah. I didn't
Um,
realize you wrote dailies. That's so
yeah,
much work.
yes, yes, it is. And it's really interesting because it's kind of changed my practice in that I end up being really hyper focused on like a few weeks of astrology, and sometimes I lose touch of like the wider schemes of what's happening throughout the year. So I've had to like
Oh,
make much more of a concerted effort to keep in touch with like overarching transits, actually.
yeah.
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 Yeah, we can talk more about that. We can talk more about that if we want, because I think we're going to talk a little bit about our processes of writing and stuff.
Right.
Cool. Um,
Yeah, it's the end of the month. Everyone's writing horoscopes.
yeah, exactly. This is how was your day? What did you get up to?
It's pretty good. I mean, it's 1 p.m. here, so yeah, I got up at
Oh,
like 7:30. I did a reading, ate some lunch.
nice. What was the vibe of the reading? How did it leave you feeling?
The vibe, yeah, it was good. Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot. Yeah,
Nice.
I have 2 more readings, and then my kind of quarantine pod is doing like a clothing swap. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, hopefully can get rid of some clothes and also gain some clothing.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Actually, we have new neighbors just moved in next door. Um, and I did a clothing swap with them a few days ago.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, super
Yeah,
cute. I love clothing swaps. So
yeah.
good.
Did you like their clothing or?
Yeah, they have great style, especially actually this one Virgo, they who lives next door. They have really great style, and I was getting rid of stuff, and I just messaged them and was like, do you want some of my stuff? And they were like, yeah, do you want some of mine? And it was really
Oh, wow, yeah.
super cute.
Mhm.
Super cute. Well, I'm happy to start whenever you want.
Okay, yeah. I'm down to start whenever, too.
Cool. Okay, should we do it?
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe we should start with intros?
Okay.
Cool. You want to go first?
Okay. Hello, my name is Ace, or Alice Sparkly Cat, and I'm an astrologer who's living on occupied Lenape territory, and it's also called Brooklyn. And I do client work. I do readings for people. I also write horoscopes. That's part of the work. And I also do some like other writing about astrology in terms of articles and books.
Sweet. Cool. Sorry, what was the name of the land that you're living on, the indigenous land you're living on?
Lenape Hoking.
Lenape Hoking. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that about New York, especially. So I'm Marissa. I am an astrologer as well. I write horoscopes. I write monthly horoscopes for gal-dem, which is a media platform that focuses on narratives for and by women and non-binary people of color. And I also write horoscopes. I write daily horoscopes and do different types of astrology content. Oh my God, it's downpouring. For an app and media platform called Sanctuary. And yeah, and then I also like to just randomly post about things I'm thinking about astrology, and I have a writing practice, I guess, as well. And I guess we're here today to talk about our practices more with each other and tell you guys about what's going on in the cosmos right now. So yeah. Ace, do you want to say something?
We were talking like before about just like horoscope writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to just like kind of like get into it, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I feel like horoscope writing is like so different from some of the other work, but yeah, like I have never written daily horoscopes actually. I've only written like in the past like weekly and monthly. I feel like it's so different like depending on where like you're writing horoscopes like too.
It really is. I feel like you know, there's like, first of all, I would like to say writing horoscopes takes an immense amount of time and energy. Like it's kind of unfathomable how much energy it takes to write, especially like for me, I find daily horoscopes really exhausting. Yeah, writing dailies is really challenging in some ways, but it's also amazing because it kind of functions as a check-in process and like a mindfulness process. And I think the way a lot of people use astrology, it's really conducive to like that kind of daily affirmation to keep you going and like a sense of affirmation. But yeah, figuring out what transit I want to talk about that day is just like, it's like a bunch of people sitting in a classroom and they're all raising their hands, and I'm like,
yeah. I mean, I don't know if everyone realizes how subjective the process is too, because like when we're looking at the chart like for the month or like the changes, we're really deciding what we want to focus on, how to interpret it too.
It's so true. Like whether or not it's really difficult because some days I'm looking at transits and I'm like, I just want to talk about Saturn retrograde in relation to this. And other days I'm like, the moon. It's just the moon.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, do you want to talk about, I mean, I think you and I have very different, but also parallel writing practices. Do you want to talk a little bit about what writing is like for you?
Writing, yeah, it changes. Yeah, for the horoscopes, I feel like it's like you said, it takes like so much energy actually. because I feel like actually like for each sign, like you're writing 12 poems. And
Yeah.
then yeah, like I feel like it can take like 12 days because like you can really just write a poem a day sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's a lot. Like for me, I make a image first. Yeah, I like to like see it out, and then I like yeah, I don't know. I do a lot of free association through Google, and then pull up images.
Yeah, I love how you always have kind of your classic like ace format of like the chart that you draw, and it always has like an image in the middle that it kind of ties together what the theme is of the month.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like doing that. It helps me picture things.
Yeah, because I think especially when you're writing monthlies, it's about figuring out what the overarching concepts are that tie together the transits.
Right.
Yeah, I really like, one thing I like about how you write your monthlies is that like you'll go into really nice detail, like both in the image and in your kind of in the foreword of your horoscopes. And you always tie in some like really great cultural references. And then the scopes themselves are very lyrical.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. What's your writing process like?
Chaotic. It's really like, I don't know. I feel like it's always evolving, especially depending on what is happening that month. Sometimes, like I have been cutting back on the kind of, I've been cutting back on the beginning, the introduction that I often write in my monthly horoscopes, just because I'll find myself repeating myself within the horoscopes themselves. And I've actually gotten a lot of feedback that like often people won't read that bit. They'll just jump straight to whatever their horoscope is.
Right.
And I mean, the writer in me is like, oh, but I worked really hard on that. But then as someone who's just like, astrology is however you want to interpret it. If you're just here to read your horoscope and go, that's totally valid.
Yeah.
So what I've been trying to do is like really streamline things. And I think I pick out kind of like 4 or 5 like key dates, always like the full moon and the new moon, to like report on for each sign. And then I'll fill in other dates that are like 2 or 3 that are relevant to that sign especially. So like maybe if like Uranus is popping off, like I'll make sure the Aquariuses hear about that. But then I might not bring it up as much for, I don't know, the Virgos, because they definitely wouldn't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really, I think based on like planetary rulership and based on just what's going on. If it's like a Mercury retrograde month, everyone's going to hear about Mercury retrograde in relation to their sign.
Yeah.
Like for September scopes, everyone's going to hear about Mars retrograde.
Yeah. What's your Mercury in?
Aquarius.
Okay. Mine's in Pisces. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Mercury.
Nice. My sun and Mars are in Pisces.
Okay. My Mars is also in Pisces.
Oh my God. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I was talking to someone yesterday that I feel like are like Mars and Pisces fighting styles just to fade away.
Yeah. It's just to be like, oh my God, see you later.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
But what's really difficult for me is I think because like my Mars is in Pisces, but then my moon and Venus are in Aries.
Okay. My sun's in Aries and Venus is in Aries.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so much energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think especially when it comes to how I write, I can't like, no matter how much I try to like put a lid on my practice or put like a time.
Oh, if other people like maybe if you're not talking, you can mute your microphones.
Oh yeah, everyone mute your microphone. Sorry. Okay, I'm so bad at Zoom. That was a good one.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I find it really difficult to regiment my writing style in general. I mean, one, because I have like Pluto in the 6th house, so like I don't know what a routine or a schedule is. But also I think because there's so much energetic and like emotional investment that goes into the type of writing that like we do, that it's really hard to like be reflexive and reflective on the state of affairs that we're writing about, and do it in a way that emotionally caters to each sign, and do that in a way that you can predict what it'll always be, because you can't. Like, especially with I found June horoscopes were incredibly difficult for me to write.
Yeah.
With just like everything with like the protests happening, and with like the Black Lives Matters movement like happening, especially feeling like as an American who was there in 2016 for the original, like the antithesis of the movement, and then someone who like is immunocompromised, quarantining in a different country, feeling very out of touch from that.
Yeah, I actually got fired from my horoscope writing job like in June, because I like wrote about politics in the horoscopes, and they were like, oh, wow, like we hired you to write about nice things with nice words. Yeah. So I don't know if we'll talk about the horoscope writing industry, but
also like, do they know your work? Like,
well, so that's the thing. I don't know. Yeah. Right. It was like very strange, because it was like also it was like something that I wrote about in a horoscope in the past, and it seems like they didn't read it until like that moment.
I think this is like the problem with people choosing you based on like clout or profile versus like really actually getting to know your work.
Well, they wanted like a Chinese astrologer, and which was interesting, because like I know like a little bit about Chinese astrology from my grandpa, but I mean, like, yeah, I use Western astrology, so I don't know. It was a weird situation, but it was horoscope.com.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, I'm sorry that happened, and I don't know. I feel like there's just absolutely no way you can ever divorce your horoscope writing from politics. Like, if we want to hit it on like a very surface level, like the personal is political and astrology is extremely personal, but also extremely macro. But then on top of that, it's like astrology is informing everything that's happening in the world right now. So like it would be actually dishonest for you to report on things in a way that is not representative of what's happening.
Yeah. It's a very strange expectation to want astrology to not address politics. But I was thinking about like, like when you Google things about astrology, how like a lot of these like bigger like corporate companies actually like pop up in the first search results. And then I'm thinking about like, I guess like how a lot of people I know use astrology, which is like, I don't know, like to validate a lot of things in like queer relationships, and just to like kind of understand each other.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wow, like actually like it's so strange that we are kind of like referencing or letting these like bigger corporate institutions into our love languages sometimes. And right. I know that I haven't thought enough about my boundaries with it.
But I think it's also difficult to like maintain a relationship to capital when you're working in the caring professions. And I think we very much work in like a caring profession that is like interpreted as feminized labor. Especially like that meme you posted about people just sliding into your DMs like expecting labor from you. Like that really resonated for me. And I think because like any profession that is associated with like some sort of journey towards self-actualization or like self-care or any type of nurturing ideas, and that is like directly linked to like gender labor, which is obviously undervalued, and then that combined with how astrology is popularized, and then mega corporations wanting to extract that from us is just like really difficult.
Yeah, it's similar to sex work.
It's extremely similar.
Yeah.
I actually find like the amount of time I devote to like my OnlyFans and like in the past to my clients like and astrology like extremely similar.
Yeah. It's also it's both a place for weird DMs.
Yeah, that's the overarching theme.
Yeah.
It's like you get lots of weird DMs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that definitely plays a role in like how I interact with my clients. I always say, like, in my readings with people, like, I don't have as much capacity to do personal readings anymore, but I try and still do at least a few a month. I always say to people that, like, unless I feel you're in immediately in harm's way, like, I devote myself to like full confidentiality with like what's going on. But then also like the process of me reading someone and them being a participant is like very much one of consent as well.
Right.
And I always try and premise my readings with that this is their reading and they should get out of it what they're looking for, within reason. Of course, I can't tell you when you're going to die or something. And people sometimes want to know that, and I was like, you're talking to the wrong person. But yeah, like just the idea of consent, and also the idea that there's this kind of mutual understanding that has to happen between you in this labor exchange.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've gotten in the last few years I feel like my readings have really changed, and that I guess like I've been asking the client to do like most of the work, and it's been like productive. Like, so I just ask questions, I reflect things back, but I feel like like since that change, like I found the client readings to be like less about burnout for me, because like I'm learning, I guess, while I'm doing them. I mean, there's still, they like take a lot. I can't do like, I don't know, like 4 a day.
Wow, 4 a day. I can do like maybe 4 a week if I'm really on it.
Yeah, I can do like 1 or 2 a day. I think that's it.
Yeah. They're completely exhausting. Like, right. I remember I did a reading for someone who had a 12th house stellium, and I had to cancel the rest of my readings for the week because it was just like you can only handle so much of that in one space. And I think like I find, although I'm trying to be like much better with my spiritual boundaries, especially as the Pisces, that's something I need to always focus on. Like there's so much energetic exchange that happens in my client readings, and over the years I think how my readings have changed so that I'm way more cognizant of the energy I'm giving and what I'm also allowing myself to receive from the person I'm giving the reading to.
Okay, cool. Yeah. What do those boundaries tend to look like? I'm just curious.
I think they often will look like just me kind of being really clear at the beginning of the reading what it is and what it isn't, and what it can be and what it can't be. Just to kind of, I think managing people's expectations helps that like energy of extraction that can occur.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, like phrasing what it can be and what it can't be. I feel like that's one thing I learned, like maybe in my reading this morning was
really?
Like, you know, like we can use this to talk about like how the specific moments playing out, but there's like certain like things happening in terms of just like wider injustices in social change, also that it's like, wow, we really don't know how everyone's going to move together. So it's just so much about description actually, which is helpful.
It is really helpful. And I think I just think the concept of asking more questions than like, look, like, I just think it's really interesting. Sorry, let me rephrase that. My brain is like not putting together the sentence. Okay, this is how I'm going to say it. Like asking questions is a lot more productive for us as astrologers than like necessarily thinking we need to have all the answers. Because when you're thinking about social movements and revolution, the only, I think what people really struggle with a lot of the time is that they just can't conceive of what a future would look like where there is no police, where there are no borders. And you know, maybe we can't either, but it's about asking the questions around what it would take to get there.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't have that imagination either.
But I think that's why I love like authors like Octavia Butler, because there's so much investment in a speculative future there that like there's so much commitment to trying to imagine what that could be, in like a very Jupiter way, that I just love, and I think needs to be kind of at the forefront of what astrology could do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading the Parable series. I read it like a few months ago. I was looking into the third one because like she originally like planned to write four.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I don't know, did that? I don't think she did.
No, she was not able to. And then but I think there's someone who received like her fragments and notes for the third book. And yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, I won't spoil it for anyone, but
yeah. Yeah, her work is amazing. I think that reminds me, like, I think her archive is in California or something.
Okay.
And I think there are like fragments that like are
Oh wow.
next one for that.
Okay.
I think I'm actually probably later today. I think I will return to that because I've been thinking about her a lot lately, especially like the eclipses. Her writing came up a lot for me.
Yeah. What other books or like other stuff like has influenced like how you practice astrology?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think Adrienne Marie Brown's work, for sure. And then who else? Funnily enough, James Baldwin. Just because of the way he writes. The way he writes is, I think he informs me more as a writer than as than as an astrologer. But I see my writing practice and my astrology practice as like very enmeshed.
Yeah.
Because I write horoscopes so much, especially.
Yeah. Was James Baldwin Pisces or?
I don't know. Should I Google it?
Yeah, I think he was.
Oh my God. James Baldwin star.
I think Adrienne Marie Brown's a Virgo.
Yeah, she is a Virgo. He was a Leo.
Oh, Leo. Okay, wow.
You can tell by how he interviews too.
I see. Yeah.
Like
attached.
Yeah, he's very like, he doesn't give eye contact like a Pisces would in an interview, perhaps.
I see. Yeah.
He's got a sternness when he speaks.
Okay.
What about you?
Oh, my sign or signs?
What is
sorry. Yeah, my like things that have influenced me. Yeah, for sure. Also Adrienne Marie Brown, and yeah, a lot of things like Octavia Butler. Yeah. I feel like recently I've been reading like more Sylvia Wynter's essays. And
I don't know her.
Yeah, she writes a lot about like just what like being human means, and like human as like a part of colonization, just like an imaginary thing that's institutional. And there's this one essay where she like really explores like I mean, she calls it like Greek and Roman astronomy, but it's astrology that she's talking about, and she's talking about it as like this projection of like the Roman political like and moral compass into the cosmos so that it becomes objective. Yeah, it's really interesting to read that, like, you know, like as an astrologer who like practices and like uses astrology kind of like as a language to engage with people.
So is she trying to lay the claim that then she thinks astrology is a way of kind of colonizing the cosmos?
That it's definitely like a language, you know, like any other language that like develops according to the political climate, for sure. Yeah.
Ooh, I just looked her up. I'm definitely gonna read some of her stuff too. Nice. Yeah, I think I found it more and more difficult to maintain a reading practice as like the amount of like horoscope writing I do goes up, which I feel like I feel like, I don't know, maybe we can talk about like labor and kind of the monetization of astrology, uh,
Okay, yeah.
if you want.
Yeah.
But I think for me,
Mhm.
um, I feel very honored and like grateful that I'm able to support myself um, by being a horoscope writer.
Mhm.
I think it's like not a very common occurrence that I like someone could do that. But at the same time, I think like one thing that I'm constantly negotiating and renegotiating is how much of my practice I want to devote to writing and how much I want to devote to actual client work.
Mm. Yeah.
And yeah, what I don't know how, because I guess if you do your monthlies and then you the rest of the time you do mostly client work.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, that's changed in the past. I used to like post these horoscopes in person, and weekly. I mean, and then I don't know, it was like more like 50-50, just like writing and client work. But right now it's like mostly client work. So I feel like, I don't know, I like to keep it like, I guess, fluid. So then I can be like, oh, what do I need right now?
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess, do you feel like your practice as an astrologer is like very interwoven to like your personal like your personal progress and just like kind of journey towards wherever you're going spiritually, and like how do you feel that
Yeah.
how so if that's the case, like how do you how do you reckon with that being interwoven to like you in your career and the kind of neoliberal
Mhm.
like energy that flows back and forth between that?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's why I want to like concentrate on the client work right now. Because I mean, like with that, like I'm getting paid a fee by people who are like looking for a type of counseling and interpretation.
Mhm.
It's I mean, it is what it is in terms of the fee. Like I offer
Yeah.
discounts, further discounts if like need be. um and then like for the writing stuff, I mean, yeah, I don't know, like, so the writing I do is mostly free since I just like post it on my website.
Yeah.
And then yeah, people donate if they like. um that's Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I got fired from that horoscope writing gig actually, because like there's certain things with, I think, like writing for like that corporation in particular, where I was like, I mean, it's a corporation, so like
Yeah.
there's issues of like surplus value being like extracted from labor. It's like, when I'm practicing client work, I'm just like, I mean, I'm doing this like labor for people. There's no surplus value that I'm extracting from anyone.
Yeah.
So at least, I mean, I feel like, I mean, yeah, that's why, I mean, I feel like relatively at peace with it, and that's why I keep doing it.
Nice.
But yeah.
Cool. That's really valuable for me to hear, I think, as someone else in the field. And I think, yeah, one thing that I think being an astrologer for me, like I like obviously there's Instagram and like,
Mhm.
Twitter, and like there's ways of like connecting
Mhm.
in general, and like there's like the queer astrology conference this year and everything, but I often find that like freelancing and like being an astrologer, like because we end up being so disparate from each other,
Mhm.
um it just kind of like underscores in my brain the need to like have these conversations and also like
Mhm.
still think about what we do as a collective,
Mhm. Yep.
and like especially, you know, not that it should be this way, and like tell me if you disagree, but
Mhm.
I think non-white astrologers have like a different there's a different way that we're received, especially nowadays, and it's important for us to be like making sure that we're checking in on each other in terms of like labor and what's expected of us.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we maybe let's see the other questions. Um,
Mhm.
I kind of think maybe we could talk about what's going on right now.
Oh,
with
okay, yeah, sure.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the moon today? I haven't even checked.
I think the moon's in Sag. It might. I don't know if it's in Capricorn yet.
Is it's I think I would say Capricorn, but
Oh, it's in Capricorn now. Okay.
yeah, but let me
Time.
oh no, that's just me totally going on like what I'm feeling, but I don't know if that's actually
Okay.
true. Let's see. Where's your favorite place for the moon to be?
I mean anywhere. Honestly. Anywhere's fine.
Anywhere is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, it's in like the final degrees of Sagittarius right now.
Okay, so it's void right now. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why my back hurts so much, I guess. I'm just kidding.
Yep. My hip was acting up and I was like, oh, it's the drop in pressure. Yeah. Let's see, transits that are happening upcoming. I think Mars retrograde is a big one coming up. I feel like we're in a tiny bit of a lull right now before September.
Yeah. I was looking at September stuff. I mean, we're gonna have like most of the month a mutual reception between the Sun and Venus. Venus and Leo, Sun and Libra. And then like I feel like the major thing is the dignified malefics squaring each other.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think yeah, that just kind of like, I just feel like September is going to be really bratty. I like Libra season is always, I think like the kind of the words like because I was looking at that as well, and like the words that I would use to describe all of those different energies combined, if I was like, because I'm writing my monthlies right now, is it's going to be like just very bratty energy, Leo, Libra, and Aries. And then from Virgo season, the transition from Virgo season to Libra season is always extremely bratty, in my opinion. It becomes if that, but maybe I'm thinking, but I especially always think about like September as like the beginning of cuffing season, and a lot of the client work I do is around relationships. And and there's this kind of, there's a big shift that happens going into that part of the year, into like the, what would it be, into like the third quadrant of the year.
You mean like the fall, or okay, yeah, and I don't know when this fall like Jupiter goes into Aquarius. I think it's late fall, right?
It is, let me check, it's in December.
Okay, December, nice.
Oh, that is okay. That December is actually the one that's looking the most dramatic, because in the span of like, I think it's in the span of like 6 days, it's like Saturn goes direct in Aquarius, Jupiter goes direct in Aquarius, and then they conjunct each other on like the 21st.
Okay. Yeah. Oh God, I don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't either.
I was like, yeah, I guess it depends. Like maybe a war with China or something.
That is a possibility around that time, especially.
Yeah. How like just like every time the US is like almost in a recession or in a recession, like it tries to like fight a war.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, I'm very nervous.
And I think like there's this like glorification that like the GOP have around being a wartime president.
Yeah, of course. And it's not even like you know, when like wars stop the recession or whatever, or accelerate the economy, it's not like it solves the issue of unemployment. It just helps the stock market. I mean, like it gives all these like technology industrialists more money. It's so ridiculous. It's like, it's so ridiculous that the market right now doesn't even reflect the actual unemployment numbers.
It's true. And like, I mean, you saw that in the war with Iraq, like Halliburton just became the most profitable industry. It's always like private corporate interests. And then what did that get used for? To resuscitate Dick Cheney like 6 times. Like, we should have just let him die.
Right.
But yeah, I guess to talk about, just to maybe explain to people about why we're getting very fired up about Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter and Saturn are two outer planets, like they're past the asteroid belt, and they are like major players, especially in political schema. Yeah. What do you associate with Saturn, Ace?
With Saturn, maybe generational struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then with Jupiter, maybe institutions or technology, like anything that is about maybe hoarding knowledge.
Hoarding knowledge. I definitely, I guess I can see that in both of them. I don't necessarily, I think I agree with you in Saturn, and I don't disagree regarding Jupiter, but I do think with Jupiter, I see kind of, there's more of like a tangibility with Saturn that with Jupiter, I feel like translates more to like a hopefulness that like maintains a generation, but doesn't necessarily always evince.
Okay, yeah, political hope.
Yeah. Or like kind of, in that direction. I think I'm really curious about what them being in Aquarius is going to look like, just because I think quite stereotypically Aquarius is seen as like a revolutionary sign. And I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I think Aquarius can be a lot, like bite off more than it can chew a lot of the time, and doesn't actually have a lot of follow through.
Yeah. When I think of Aquarius, I mean, I guess like some of the like stereotypes we associate with Aquarius, you know, it's different how it shows up for everyone. But I guess like I think about like counterculture and about how like counterculture a lot of times was like seen as like quote unquote revolutionary, but was actually like perpetuating a lot of the same issues that we've always been dealing with. So like, yeah, I guess like I associate that with Saturn too. Since Saturn like rebelled against his dad, but then like copied what his dad did.
Yeah, like recreated those institutions. Yeah, I definitely see. I've seen a lot of like annoying tropes of like CEO liberal feminism in both those planets that I'm worried are going to continue on in like the same way. And what I mean by that is like in the way that we see a lot of like mainstream feminism now looking like, you know, more black and brown, which okay, but at the same time in concept just being like, oh, we want the tables to turn, we want women to be at the top, like, and then they obviously mean cis women, whereas like it needs to be more that like there is no top, there is no table to turn, and that kind of ties back into the like speculative futures conversation we were having before. So yeah, I agree in Aquarius being like more of a reaction than a revolution sometimes.
Yeah, I like what you said about September being about bratty energy. I was like some who told me this, but I like someone's like a brat's just like a bottom with a superiority complex, and I was like for like I don't know, like there to be no bottom or top, like we have to have that, and then toss with the inferiority complex too.
As someone who defines as like a femme top / like bottom with a superiority complex, like yes. And yes, that is related to astrology. Yeah, that's my Venus in Aries, Mars in Pisces like struggle.
Well, I have the same Venus and Mars. We have to have maybe like a private conversation about the Venus Mars.
Yeah, I think we definitely do. Or we can have a separate conversation about like what we know this is going to be about.
I see.
Yeah. Cool.
I don't know anyone else who has that combo, my friend.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
I'm trying to think, because so you're the exact same as me, Venus and Aries, Mars and Pisces.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, and then but where's your Mercury?
My Mercury's also in Pisces.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, yours is in Aquarius.
Nice. Oh, our such
Interesting.
Aries and Pisces heavy charts are, I guess they make astrologers like us.
Yeah.
Which is, that's fun, I guess. I think I would self-define as chaotic, especially like not necessarily in my astrological like practice, like especially interacting with clients, but I think in my writing style especially.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I wonder if people want to ask us any questions, because I think we're in like the last 15 minutes. I think it would be cute to like open the floor for people to like respond or want to like
Yeah.
make comments about things that we've said. Hang on, my door is ringing. I'll be right back.
Yeah, if anyone has questions, just put them in the chat maybe, or yeah. I see Grave says that they also have Venus, Aries, Mars, and Mercury in Pisces. Oh wow, okay, let's talk about this, because I would love to have a conversation about it.
I have Venus in Aries, Mars and Mercury in Pisces. Wait, is this Grace? Oh my God.
Yeah, Grace, look at the plant that you gave me. It's thriving.
Grace is one of my best
What
friends.
does it mean to read someone's horoscope in a politically speculative way? Hey, Grace. It is Grace. Yeah, in a politically speculative way. I mean, I'll just respond to it. If you want to interrupt me, that's cool too. But yeah, I mean, I guess like in the horoscopes, I feel like sometimes like I guess like there's like this assumption that horoscopes are supposed to tell you like what to do or provide answers, and I don't think like horoscopes like should or like can do that at all. So like I feel like horoscopes are a little bit like poetry, where it's like it's really to like I don't know, like describe like or like engage with a moment, and like possibly have that moment like be relatable in some kind of like fragmentary way, and to raise questions and like political questions for sure. But it's not like you're gonna look for a poem to tell you what to do with your week. And I feel like horoscopes like are kind of similar. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and I think I agree. And I think to kind of like expand on the metaphor slash like I guess it's only like half a metaphor because it is also just like true. But like you wouldn't, yeah, poems are meant to like inspire and like be things that you hold on to that you then use to reflect and then guide what you might do in the same way that like I don't know, I'll do something like say I don't know, walking down the street and I see something, it might remind me of like a bit of a poem that I read. And horoscopes function in a largely similar way. I think when I write my daily horoscopes, like or just even my monthlies, I'll put in like some tangible things for people to do because I think a lot of the time people really enjoy that guidance, but I think that is it ends up being more of a crutch that supplements like that's not the epitomization of the horoscope. It's kind of like an expansion off of the thought that's occurring. It's like you know, or like a suggestion like maybe this is a good time to like sit in an Epsom salt bath if you're going through like a 12th house transit and you're a water sign.
I like the way you do that. I like when I see you do that, it kind of reminds me of like Yoko Ono's what's her book called? I can't remember. But like we're like kind of giving you these things to do so that you reflect. That's how I see it.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, like I did a post about like Mars entering Aries and I was like paint your nails red. But it was more about the kind of like but the way I'll write that is in a poetic fashion, so that way it's both the act of doing that is not necessarily like what you're supposed to do when that happens, but it's mimetic. Yeah. It's a way for it to mimetically reflect what's going on for you to then reflect on.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like your suggestions.
Thank you. People have written other things.
A question about critical degrees. I have a 29 degrees Venus in Sag. What does that mean? So, you know, like Venus will mean different things to everyone. If you have a planet that's at the last degree of a sign, that's the Antarctic degree, and that will be a little bit more difficult. And just like the later degrees in general have difficult like bound lords. So that might mean that the things that that planet can signify for you at any time, they can be like kind of like created through struggle rather than support.
Yes, I agree. Anorectic degrees are just like, they're kind of like, they're one of my favorite ways that like you like that like cusps are debunked, because like people who are in the last degrees of their sign, like their sun sign especially, are like such distilled but like also troubled versions of that sign a lot of the time, that it's like no wonder they're like, oh, I can't possibly be one thing, I must be both. And it's like, you are one. Okay, someone said, is there a taboo on reading about death and questions on death? Someone asked me to do a reading to see if they would live to over 100, but I just felt it would be super strange, and also in the ways I learned to read, it's just not possible to get an answer as specific as that, but I'm a massive novice. Okay, to begin, your imposter syndrome is showing. I'm sure you're more experienced than you're like giving yourself credit for. Second, so I mean, I think if people are asking specific questions about that and going into a reading specifically for that, it might be worth kind of doing that thing of managing expectations as to like what you can and can't garner from a chart reading, or like kind of getting to the bottom of like what their motivation is behind wanting to know that information, and then being able to read that in the chart as well. Yeah, and I think, you know, because if someone asks me if they want to see how long they're going to live, I might then, and then I would think about that question more as a rhetoric than a like yes no answer, like more as a way to guide what you get out of the reading in terms of like why that question is being asked. Does that make sense? I feel like I didn't make sense.
I think it makes sense to me. Yeah, I really like how you're saying, like, you know, get to the bottom of why that question's asked. Like, I feel like a client reading is like almost like therapy. It's like, you know, would you ask your therapist how long you're gonna live? Like, you know, if you ask your therapist how long you would live, like, hopefully that, like, your therapist will ask, like, why would you ask me that, and try to get to the bottom of it.
Exactly. Someone has said, sometimes astrological readings will say two people are technically not compatible. Does astrology offer any guidance on how to resolve this tension, or is that reading really as fatalistic as that? Oh, composite readings. Ace, do you want to go first? I have a lot to say on this.
Okay, I can say something. I don't do synastry readings or composite. Like, I don't do couples counseling. But I guess, like, I would wonder, like, what does it mean to be compatible? Because I feel like everyone has like such different ideas of what that is. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. I don't do couples stuff.
That is like at the core of what I'm gonna say too, which is a lot of the times, unless you're getting synastry / composite readings, like the reading that you're getting is like very shallow, like the kind of like enter your sign and see if he's the one. Like that stuff, that's a bunch of fucking bullshit in my opinion. Like if you want to talk about compatibility, like, okay, you want someone, if what does compatibility mean to you? Like that show Indian Matchmaking, where she has the bio data, and it's like people who are looking for similar things. So it's like, okay, if you want to like think about like you want someone who works in your field, like let's look at the midheaven and how like that aligns with maybe, you know, someone who you want to be with, someone who wants to get married eventually. Like let's look at your like north node and how that interrelates to your Venus, like, and how it interrelates to their Venus. Like there's different ways to deduce compatibility in that way, but also I think even in the most quote unquote incompatible readings, like when you see an opposition or a square, that's just something you have to work through, because it's in the same way that like a square or an opposition or a conjunction isn't something that's like that's like entrapping you into being a certain way. It just creates a different energy around how you might work through it or work with it.
I want to add, like, I feel like it's also like worth thinking about what the goals of like a relationship are too, because yeah, like, you know, not everyone wants to get married, or like, yeah, you know, like, because like it's like, oh, maybe someone who's like really incompatible with you, like socially or politically, like you can challenge each other. Of course, you can set like boundaries around that, but yeah.
I totally agree. Or if you're just looking to have sex with someone, it's like that's a completely different way of reading it. Then maybe you should be with that Scorpio. I've let so many Scorpios ruin my life because like I just loved having sex with them.
Oh wow. I've never
Yeah.
had Scorpio.
Yeah.
Can the birth chart tell you about ancestral trauma, and where and how could we find that? Yeah, I have a response to this actually. Like, so like, you know, it depends on the system that you use, because there's different types of astrologies. So I think we both use Western astrology. And like Western astrology, it's a specific thing, like it developed through modernity, which is also colonization. So yeah, like Western astrology can help you like locate like your position in the West, and it's a useful language for that. That's really all it's good for, because a lot of the symbols, planets in Western astrology, like they talk about like Jupiter's institutions, Mars is like what's perceived as foreignness a lot of the time, like cultural outsiders. Venus is what like you're protecting a lot of the time, and yeah, so you can totally talk about ancestral trauma like using this language, because a lot of ancestral trauma has to do with like historical violence, but like yeah, astrology is just one of those tools too.
Yep. I agree. Let's see. I'm trying to think if I have anything to expand on that with. I think it can be definitely used as a way to guide you through that. I don't think you could ever say like, I don't know. I think a lot of work, sorry, I'm having trouble collecting my thoughts around this because it's very nuanced. The 8th house, the 4th house, Chiron, like those are things that I'll use as signifiers of certain things, but it's less to do with like whether the existence of ancestral trauma or not, because like in my opinion, like a majority of like ancestrally colonized people hold ancestral trauma, but that's also not my place to like impose on people. And I think it's about what people's relationship is to wanting to address that trauma, and like what I can do or what we can do as astrologers to like help guide what might be a way of doing that, whether it's like a 9th house-esque like journey somewhere, or whether it's a means of reconnecting with like a sibling. Yeah, so I can make suggestions, but I can't tell you yes or no. I feel. Yeah.
Do we have time for another question? Or I mean, it's 2 minutes left, right? Or
yeah. Okay. Maybe we should wrap it up.
Okay.
But I felt like this was a really nice conversation. Thank you so much, Ace.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, Bearlit, for hosting us to do this. This was something I was definitely looking forward to, and as I predicted, because I'm an astrologer and I can predict the future according to people, I feel I'm in a much better mood now. That was a joke, by the way.
I'm talking to you.
Yeah, same. Cool. Okay. I think we're gonna sign off now.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye everyone. Thank you for watching.